The Human Optimization Podcast is proudly brought to you by Vicon Supplements, where quality meets sustainability. Vicon's all-natural supplements are handcrafted and sustainably produced in Canada, bringing you products that nourish both your well-being and our planet. Visit viconsupplements.com today and be a part of a greener, healthier future.
Are you ready to embark on a journey to the best version of you? Join me, Lisa Pitel-Killah, as I dive deep into the world of hair tissue mineral analysis and functional medicine with fellow experts, and guide you on the path of unlocking your full potential. As a multi-time kettlebell sport world champion, I'm on a mission to reach high-performance professionals from around the world to help you minimize tiring symptoms, maximize health, and gain unstoppable energy. This is the Human Optimization Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. And I am super excited to have today's talk. So on the show today, I have Dr. Michelle Jorgensen. So she is an internationally recognized author, speaker, and pioneer in holistic dentistry. She founded Total Care Dental and Wellness and Living Well with Dr. Michelle, offering resources to help people regain their health. After mercury exposure in her dental practice made her ill, she became a board-certified holistic health practitioner and created health-based dentistry, linking oral health to overall wellness. Author of 6 books, including Living Well with Dr. Michelle, she's passionate about teaching and mentoring. A mother and grandmother, she enjoys gardening, cooking, and embracing nature's gifts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. And I'm super excited. Tell me, I always want to start off just saying, holistic dentistry. A lot of people haven't even heard about this. They're like, what is that? Right? Which always kind of makes me step back and go, how have you not heard of this? Right? And so I'm excited to share about that. But there's always a reason why we are sitting in the seats we are today doing what we do. So share a little of that journey and your background with our audience.
Yeah, so I was one of the people who had never heard of holistic dentistry. That was me. I'm a general dentist, and I was practicing with my father. He's still in his 70s, still practicing. I just thought that that's what I would do, that I would continue just doing the thing. And, we had a good practice. We were helping people. I was really focused on cosmetic dentistry. That was one of my loves then. And I started just not feeling great. And just, everybody finds reasons for it. We write it off as, oh, I'm just busy. I had 4 young kids. So, it's just, I'm not sleeping great with the kids, or we're not eating as good as we could because we're, just have so much going on. Just a lot of things. Started writing it off as just other issues. And gut issues were my first problems. And those are easy to say, oh, everybody has gut problems. Everybody has what's going on. But then I started having worse issues that were a lot harder to ignore. My memory just started really struggling. I have always had a very good memory, and I stopped being able to even remember patients' names from room to room.
Wow.
So I knew something was going on there. And the big one, though, was my hands were so numb, just painfully numb all night long. I couldn't sleep. And it got to the point that I couldn't brush my teeth, blow dry my hair, or hold my dental instruments anymore. So I didn't really know what I was going to do. I'd got a doctor after doctor, and everyone said, everything's fine. Nothing's wrong with you. I can't see anything wrong. Here's a pill for acid reflux. That's about all they had to offer. And that wasn't the problem. And so I had my practice for sale. And we really didn't know what we were going to do because I had 4 young kids, and my husband worked for the practice as well. We still had debt on the practice. We were at this crossroads of, wow, our life is making a significant shift, and we don't know what's going to be next. How are we going to keep our head above water here? And at that point, I was looking into potentially coaching or teaching or doing something still in dentistry. And I talked to another practitioner, and he said, have you ever looked into mercury poisoning as potentially the issue? And I said, again, just wrote it off. I said, well, no, I don't have any mercury fillings. I knew that silver fillings had mercury in them, but I said, no, I don't have any mercury fillings. And I've heard that they're completely safe. And he said, it's not the fillings you have, it's all the fillings you've been drilling out for the last decade with no protection. And maybe it's just worth looking into.
Hmm.
So I had not done that test. I got tested for mercury, and that's what it was, mercury off the charts. And
Wow.
all of a sudden, all the symptoms made sense because mercury affects the gut, it affects your brain, it affects nervous system. So the numbness, the brain fog, all these things. And it was beyond brain fog, it was like brain stop for me. So all of those things made sense with mercury. And, at first I was happy I found an answer, but then a little furious that I'd never heard that this could be a problem for dentists.
Yeah.
And it really started making me just question everything I'd ever learned, everything I'd ever been trained. And, I had to figure out, could I keep doing my job and not get mercury in? Because the doctor said, well, you can't get better. If you keep putting it in, you can't get better.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I had to go find out were there ways to remove mercury fillings and continue being a dentist without having this problem. And I found there were organizations that did this, had never heard of them before, and just started doing that. But when I started doing that, patients would come in and say, why does it look like a hazmat scene in here? And I'm like, well, let me explain. So then they would say, wow, I didn't know that this could be a thing. I'm like, I didn't know either, but this is good for me. And this is actually probably better for you too, that we're doing it this way. And
Yeah.
they started sharing that with friends and family and with their doctors and their health providers. And people started just asking me questions. Doctors would say things like, well, what do you think about root canals? I'm like, well, they're fine. I've done hundreds of root canals myself. Well, maybe you ought to look into it. So I'd start looking into it. And, what do you know about wisdom teeth areas? Like, do they always heal? Well, yeah, they're completely fine. Maybe you should look into it. What do you know about fluoride? Well, I don't know. We just were taught fluoride's great. Well, maybe you should see what it really does. So
Yeah.
it was not me really even going down any of these pathways. It was people saying, well, you've heard about this, maybe you should look into this. And I'm very much a researcher.
Hmm.
If there's a question, I'm going to find an answer. And I became quite disenchanted saying, what in the world? Like, why is no one talking about this? Why is nobody doing anything about this? Why do we know? Does nobody know? And really, it just morphed my practice into one where we now have multiple specialties, multiple offices on a campus all together. We have people come from around the world that
Wow.
just have us help figure out how their overall health is connected to their mouth. And really, research shows that 60 to 80% of chronic health concerns either originate in the mouth or are related to something in the mouth. And we've decided we're actually a big, huge piece of people's health journey, and they just don't know it. So I did not get where I am today intentionally or by choice. It was a matter of I was not well and I had to figure out why, and that led me down a whole new pathway.
Well, I feel like a lot of times when we are on a path we're meant to be on, we just get led right in the direction we're supposed to go, which sounds like that's exactly what happened to you.
Yep.
And I mean, it must have been so interesting too, just coming from, a more traditional Western kind of dentist practice and then branching out and then asking all of these questions. It must have been for you, like, was that a kind of a shocking moment for you when you started making these realizations and these connections?
Yeah, and I was questioning Western medicine at this
Mm.
point, though. My father's a dentist, my grandfather was an internist. This is just the way I was raised, the way
Yeah.
I've been trained, but it hadn't kept me well, and it
Hmm.
hadn't helped me return to wellness.
Right.
So I really started questioning everything. And at first, I didn't even know what to call myself as I started doing these things. And so I started using the word holistic dentistry.
Hmm.
But I learned real quickly that that word brings some stereotype with it.
Oh.
People start thinking that I'm going to be dressed in tie-dye and have an incense burning in the rooms and have beads hanging in the doorways.
Oh
And,
my
there's
goodness.
definitely a stereotype that comes with the word holistic.
Hmm.
And it's interesting because people now come to my practice and they'll look around and they'll say, well, this is the most technologically advanced dental office I've ever been into in my entire life. Yeah, it has to be because I have to know every single bit of research that comes out because I have to stand by my decisions and my practice decisions and
Yeah.
my procedures and what I'm doing. Whereas you go to your regular dentist, nobody's asking them why they're doing what they're doing, but everybody's
Right.
asking me what we're doing while we're doing. So I changed the name. I actually call myself a health-based dentist purposefully
Hmm.
because we're not just doing crazy talk, doing seances and chanting and, trying to figure out, what your chakra is telling us about your teeth. That's not what we're doing in our office. We're
Yeah.
saying, wow, nobody's saying that your teeth are connected to you. And did you know I can learn so much about you just by looking in your mouth? And what's in there is influencing so much about what is going on health wise.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a journey for me to figure out even what to call myself.
Yeah.
And, what does that mean to people when I called myself that thing? And how could I really represent best what we do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it kind of comes with paving the way down a new, I always call it a dirt road, right? When there's no main highway with the names of to identify what it is, we're kind of on that dirt path, and then making things up, that hopefully bring that descriptive into so that people understand what's going on, right? Until it becomes a little bit more mainstream. And so, when we're talking about, you mentioned Western medicine. And so one of the things I'm curious about is the differences, or if you have an opinion, which ones, but like between Eastern and Western medicine, what does that look like? What's your opinion on that?
My favorite question right now, because this is what my book is all about. I
Oh,
have a brand new book
perfect.
coming out in May,
Hmm.
and I will tell people at the end, how they can pre-order and how they can get some of the things I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to back it up just a little bit.
Okay.
So, most likely, everybody that's listening to this, or everybody that's on a health journey of some variety, there is one common thing that I hear over and over and over and over again. And that is, I simply don't have the energy I want. I
Mm,
don't have the energy that I need to live the life I want. That's what I hear over and over again. I want to do this. I want to play with my grandkids. I want to be able to get a better job. I want to be able to work out. I want to be able to, whatever it is. They don't have the energy to do what it is that they need.
yeah.
And that's where I was. I was in this place where I was just stuck. And there is not a lack of information today, right? There are so many different things you can do. I mean, every single time you turn on anything, there's a new diet plan, a new
Yeah.
supplement, a new program you can sign up for, a new
Hmm.
something. And, you listen to all of them, and now all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, I need to train for a marathon. I need to do keto. I need to eat paleo. I need to intermittent fast. I need to cut all
Yeah.
sugar out of my diet. I need to power lift. I need to, you start thinking all this and like you're completely stuck. And really, you just think, well, what is it that's going to help me get that energy that I want? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? We just want the energy we need to live the life we want. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So, what do we do? Like, there's not a lack of information, there's a lack of clarity. So this is where I was at, and I started studying all kinds of different medicines. So, I was really doubting modern medicine, and so I started studying Ayurveda from India and
Yep.
Chinese traditional medicine and Sasong medicine from Korea and German herbalism and native, like all of these things I started studying. And what I realized was something very foundational. And this I just love. I love to bring it back to something very simple. So let's talk about if you cut your finger.
Hmm.
If you cut your finger, you might put a band-aid on it, right? To
Right.
keep it protected or whatever. Is it the band-aid that's doing the healing?
It's just
No.
keeping the blood from leaking out.
Yeah, whatever it might be, right? It's supporting, but what is
Yeah.
doing the healing? What is going to heal that cut finger?
Your body.
Your body, your cells
Hmm.
specifically. Your cells are going to do the work, right? They're going to come in, and the cool thing about it is they're going to do all the work without you telling them what to do.
Hmm.
I mean, literally, our bodies are pretty dang amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you cut this finger, and all of a sudden, it starts to get red and a little sore. What is that? That's your inflammatory system
Yeah.
coming to clean up this, to clean up the mess, right? Clean up all
Hmm.
the dead cells, move everything out. Did you tell them to do that? No, they
Nope.
did that all on their own. Then they leave, and now the skin cells move in, and they have to stitch themselves together in a way that that cut can't separate again. Again, we didn't have to tell it to do that. It just
Hmm.
did it on its own. So I'm going to challenge you a little on this one. I believe that all medicine, Eastern or Western, is simply a band-aid.
Hmm.
None of it heals us, right?
Okay.
Not a thing. Not any of the supplements that I know you do supplement, and none of them heal us. They all simply support our cells in
Mm.
doing what they are already programmed to do.
Yeah.
So the question is not and should not be Eastern or Western medicine, which one is better? The question is, what do my cells need to be well?
Mm. Oh, that makes total sense.
And we
Hmm.
might find answers inside of Eastern medicine, and we might find answers inside of Western medicine. I don't
Yeah.
believe they're enemies. I believe that they actually can work hand in hand with each
Hmm.
other. We just need to be asking the right question. So then that leads us to the next question, which is, how do I know what my cells need to be well, right?
Right.
if we need to be asking, what do my cells need? How do we know that? Is that the latest and greatest in diagnostics? Is that an X-ray or a blood test or a, urine test? What is that? I believe no, because I am so strongly a follower, a believer in all these traditional medical practices.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have blood tests. They didn't have X-rays.
Right.
And they were doing things that were keeping people well for centuries. So we need to start listening to what our cells are saying, because our cells are going to tell us what they need. What is the cell's information? How do we listen to that? Well, that's the symptom. And in modern medicine, that is one fault that we've really, started doing, is that we think the symptom is the enemy,
Mm.
right? We think that the symptom, like we have a headache, well, the problem is the headache. And when we, list symptoms on medical forms and things, what are we listing off? We're listing off all of our symptoms:
Yeah.
joint pain, headaches, gut problems. Those are all symptoms. They're not the root cause. The
Right.
problem is what is really causing that symptom, because the cell that's leading to the headache is saying something's missing. I'm missing something. So I've created something called a root cause finder, where you use these cell signals, these symptoms, and it puts you in a classification system to
Mm-hmm.
tell you which cell needs help first. Because that's all what we need to know. We need to know which cell needs help first. And then you start using, perhaps it's some modern medicine, perhaps it's some, or some Western medicine or Eastern, wherever it comes from, at least you know where to start. Which
Absolutely.
cell needs help first. And I know you customize a lot of things and what you do. This is even taking it further down to not only what does your body need, but what does your body need now?
Mm-hmm.
Because just like the earth cycles through seasons, and no matter what, it's always going to go from winter right now to spring. I'm really happy about that one. But
Me too.
it's always going to go through cycles. The same thing with your body. Your body's going to go through cycles as well. This is why our symptoms change over time, because they need different things in different times.
Yeah.
So this root cause finder helps you figure out, where are my cells now? And then you take it again,
Mm.
3 months and 6 months, whatever it is. What cells need help now at that point? And I believe that all cells can get things from the elements of the earth, from plants, from water, from air,
Mm-hmm.
from the earth itself, that this is where all the answers are. We just have kind of forgotten how to utilize them. So
Right.
that's what the book's all about. It's about running you through learning about how cells work, how to listen to your cell symptoms, and then what to do about it once you've figured it out. And this is just, it's basically my answer: how to get the energy you need to have the life you want. How to have every single cell operate at its peak capacity.
That's amazing. Amazing. And, it really is interesting, just because, again, symptoms, you're right, symptoms aren't the enemy. They're a wake up call, right? They're a wake up call to say, hey, something's not working quite right. You need to pay attention. Right? I almost feel like someone's knocking at the door when you have something come up. It's like something's not working right.
But we don't know
Right.
how to pay attention. It's like, okay, I have a
Right.
headache, but then what?
Well,
I
between
don't know what,
right, we're on our phones, we're doing this, we're multitasking, right? We're
Yep.
doing all the things, and we're not listening to our
Yeah.
bodies. All right, that's definitely part of the problem, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so obviously, kind of thinking about going back to the earth, what we can do for ourselves, how we can nourish ourselves, support ourselves. Tell me what did our grandmothers or our grandfathers know about health that people now need to think about? I almost feel like we always end up going back and revisiting things that get forgotten.
We need to. I hope that that's exactly what we do. And again, that's a lot of what I'm talking about and teaching in the book as well, is how to rediscover those things. So when I studied all of these different medical traditions, all these different historic things, what I found is they all had something very in common. They
Mm,
were all referencing the seasons of the earth, so spring, summer, fall, winter,
mhm.
and the elements of the earth. So, like we talked about,
Yeah.
water, air, plants, earth. They were all using those as classification systems, number one, and ways to describe our body, but also as ways to heal our body and heal ourselves.
Mhm.
And the way my brain works is my brain very much sees in is a filter. So I'll look at something and automatically I'll see three things that are the exact same color. Like that's the first thing my mind does is like
Ooh,
it like
yep.
filters things and puts them in categories.
Yeah.
So I went through all of these different things and I did exactly that. I said, all right, let's put everything together into this category that matches. Let's put everything together into this category and realize that we can actually classify the body to line up with the seasons of the earth. But there's actually five, not the four we know of, but
Okay.
spring,
Mm-hmm.
summer, harvest, which is a little different than we often talk about. Sometimes they call it late summer or Indian summer, but we're going to
Yes.
call it harvest,
Okay.
fall, and winter. And each of those seasons lines up with an organ system.
Hmm.
So the cool thing about it is it gives you clues on how to help it. So let's say that you take the root cause finder and it tells you you are in a spring season right now. Your cells that need help are liver and gallbladder. Liver and
Yep.
gallbladder is all associated with the spring season. So you need liver gallbladder help. What might some of these symptoms be? You might feel like emotionally, you might feel kind of stuck, like you just, I'm just not motivated. I can't do anything. Physically bloated,
Mm.
holding on to weight. You can't lose weight. You just feel sluggish. You might have joint pain, dry eyes. Some of these things are all signs that your cells are giving you that your liver and gallbladder needs help. I learned this the hard way because I would talk to people. I'd say, yeah, we need, liver gallbladder is really your focus. And they would look at me and like,
What?
I don't, I don't know what that means. I don't know what my liver does, and I don't know what symptoms would be related to my liver. Now I say, do you ever feel stuck, like bloated, like no motivation? You just can't get out the door to exercise. You can't lose weight, maybe constipated a little bit. You just don't feel great. They're like, yeah, like every day of my life. I'm like, that's your liver and your gallbladder telling you that things are wrong. So I help you simplify that. I tell you it's your liver and gallbladder. And then we say, okay, this is spring. What happens in the spring in the earth? Everything comes back to life. It like cleans out the old stuff, clears
Yep.
it out from last year. It's all new. What's growing during this time of year? It's all green stuff. I'm a huge gardener, so I know these answers.
Hmm.
I've learned that not everybody knows these answers, so I help you
Yes.
know them too. Green stuff, lettuce, spinach, arugula, dandelions, all these things
Mm.
grow. Guess which things help your liver and gallbladder? Spinach, lettuce, arugula, dandelions, all the things that grow in spring. And your liver and gallbladder need new starts, cleaning out, refreshing, starting over again. So you need to dump all the stuff that's called detox in our modern medical lingo. You
Hmm.
need to detox in spring, and the best things to do it are cucumbers and spinach and lettuce and dandelions. So everything in spring relates to it. So really, it's just a matter of paying attention to your symptoms,
Yeah.
translating what they're telling you, and then very specifically giving those cells what those cells need. And it's different based on the different season you're in.
Yeah. Huh. That's amazing. I've never put that together with regards to the seasons before. I understand them, but just with regards to symptoms and health, that is a very forward thinking and innovation that you've come up with regards to your assessment. I love it. And I know that I definitely have my own opinions about one size fits all, right? This
Mhm.
you everybody needs to take this. Everybody needs to eat this. Everybody needs this diet. Talked about that earlier. What are your thoughts on that?
Very much not true because we are in different seasons, meaning different cells need different things at different times. And it might be that, well, what I've figured out is if you can help one cell be well, you
Hmm.
can help them all be well. And what does it take for all of them to be well? They need supplies, which is nutrients, oxygen, water. They
Hmm.
need support, which is the temperature that you're in, the amount of movement you get, whether they're able to get rid of their trash or not.
Yeah.
They need security. You have to protect them somehow. If you're invaded with bacteria and viruses and all these things, and your cells aren't going to be well, and they need signals. They need to be able to talk to each other. So let's say I'm talking to you, and you go, okay, well, should I eat, paleo or keto? I'm going to say, I have no idea. We have to ask your cells first what
Hmm.
they we have to find out, first of all, which cells need help first. And then we have to find out, do your cells need more supplies? Like, do they need more food? Or do they simply need more signals, which means you need to really lay on the electrolytes. We need to get a lot more minerals into your system so your cells can talk to one another.
Right.
So it's completely wrong to say, is this thing right or is this thing right? The right question is, what do my cells need right now? And it's very individual. So one size fits all is one size fits nothing. Nobody, because it doesn't. There's
Yeah.
no one thing that works for every single person on the planet, other than maybe we all need to drink water. We all need to get some sunshine. We all need to move our bodies. Those are some one size fits all pieces.
Mhm.
But even those are a little bit custom based on where you are, which organ system needs your help is how you're going to move. Like, not everybody
Yeah.
should be running marathons, because if
Mhm.
you are in a winter, the last thing you need, that winter is all about teeth and bones and urinary tract and deep nourishment. The last thing you should be doing during the winter time is training for a marathon, because you're expending all of those nutrients that your body's trying to store up to replenish those systems.
Yeah.
So no, but in the summertime, great, go for it. If you're in the summer and your heart and your small intestine are where you're focused, go for marathon training. So even movement is sometimes not one size fits all. It's based on which organ systems, which cells need help right now.
Yeah. So interesting. I love it. And when you talked about movement and clear and kind of cells clearing out the trash, I think people forget about that too. Again, not all movement fits everybody, right? Not everybody should be hitting the CrossFit gym, doing HIIT training and what have you. But movement really does help the body to clean up things, right? If we're not moving enough, and I think about that more nowadays, and maybe it's because I'm kind of sitting behind a desk more, right? So when I start to think about that, I'm like, okay, I need to get up and go for a walk, or, I need to do this, or I'm taking the stairs every day, up to the office or what have you. But I feel like, in the grand scheme of things, sometimes, a lot of us are sitting behind a desk and then we're going home, and what are we doing? We're sitting down to eat. And then what are we doing? We're sitting in front of the TV on the couch, and then we're going to bed. Like, that's not right. There has to be some sort of way for your body to again just regenerate and also clean up the trash, and that equals more movement. So even taking the stairs, doing some of those easy things are important as well in our day and age.
Yep.
Yeah. So new books coming out. Tell us, when is it already out? I feel like it's
No,
coming soon.
it's not out yet. However, you can pre-order, and the key with pre-ordering are twofold. First of all, so go to livingwellbook.com. That's where you can pre-order.
Okay.
And you're going to do a few things. When you go to livingwellbook.com, it's going to show you where to go. And then you're going to come back there once you order and put in your information, because I'm going to send you the root cause finder. You're going to be able to take it right now. So you're going to get that root cause finder. You're also going to get a first steps guide. So it's going to say, okay, here's your season. You're in the season of harvest. What the heck does that mean? It's going to walk you through what does that mean to get you started. So you're going to get those two things right off the bat. Make sure to
Mhm.
go back to the side and put site that I gave you, livingwellbook.com. Make sure to go back there and put your info in there, your order number, put your info in, then we'll send you all the stuff. The second thing you're going to do is all profits from the book go to charity. So everything's
That's
going
amazing.
back to charities that support the earth, regenerative agriculture charity, clean water charity, those things that actually help us to strengthen the medicine that is best for our body, the one that's
Yeah.
surrounding us and the earth around us. So thank you for your pre-order. The other thing it does three things actually, is it tells book publishers and booksellers that these are topics that people want to know about. So it helps all of us if
Yeah.
you can pre-order, because then the booksellers go, oh, this one's actually, why is this one taken off? Okay, I see that.
Hmm.
So money goes to charity. It tells booksellers that these are topics we want to know more about. So then they're going to pick up more authors, and you get all the freebies to be able to get started right away.
Love it. I love it. And so we'll have all of the links for the new book so that you can pre-order. And also, I mean, just to be able to take the test now and see where are you at,
Yep.
right? That's a huge, I can't wait to take the test.
Yeah.
I want to know where my cells are at.
Yep.
And, coming back around, because I do want to kind of leave with an important thought that I think a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of practitioners out there don't necessarily pay attention to either. And you made a comment about it earlier. And that is that a lot of chronic health issues are starting from the health of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so many times, I can't tell you how many times I've come across practitioners that I'm mentoring or even my own clients, and I have to dig into the tooth meridian and then dig into what's happening. You know, they may have an underlying low grade chronic infection under a crown or something like that. And that's what's keeping those chronic issues from actually being able to be solved. So,
Yep.
this is such an important part of all of this.
Yes.
And so tell me too, like, I mean, obviously your clinics are all over. People travel from all over the world to come and obviously be in your dental clinics. But what are some of the important parts of, you know, that people should be thinking about if they're looking for, you know, a dentist or something like that, just for their general, just to make sure everything is where it should be when it comes to oral health?
Yep. So first thing is I do have a directory on my website,
Okay.
livingwellwithdrmichelle.com. If you go there, there's a dentist directory. So you can
Amazing.
find a dentist closer to home
Mhm.
that has this focus. They may not do everything exactly like we do it, but they do some of it in essence. So they're going to
Yep.
be closer to what we're talking about for sure. So that's a place to find somebody. But then there's some questions you're going to ask. If you have chronic health concerns, if you have things that you've been struggling with for years and you have been trying everything and everybody promises you that their thing is going to make the difference, these are the people I hear day in and day out. Everybody's told me that everything that they're going to do is make the difference. And I'm becoming really kind of jaded on this anymore. And I say, first of all, I get it, because I was you. So I
Yeah.
absolutely get it. But there's a gold standard that has to happen for this kind of dentistry, and that's called a cone beam CT scan.
Okay.
So what it is a dental specific cone beam or dental specific CT scan, and allows us to see everything in this head and neck area in 3 dimensions. Why
Hmm.
do we need to do that? Because our typical dental x-rays are 2 dimensions. So if you've got an infection underneath an old root canal, which is incredibly common, I would say 80% of the time there's infection underneath old root canal teeth. If you have that, I'm not going to see it on a traditional dental x-ray until it is large. In fact, I may not even see it then. I'll always remember the story of this was one of the first people that really solidified in my mind that we just don't know what we don't know in dentistry. She had come in and was complaining about an old root canal tooth. And honestly, it's kind of uncommon to complain about a root canal tooth. A lot of times
Mm.
people have no symptoms, or they have like chronic sinus infections or chronic other infections, whatever. And it's actually the tooth that's the issue. They just don't know it.
Hmm.
But this woman actually did have a symptom. She said, it just has never felt right.
Mm.
And so I took a regular dental x-ray, nothing. I looked at it, I said, it's just fine. And she's like, that's what everybody says, but it just doesn't feel right. And I had just gotten my first cone beam CT scan machine. And I said, well, you know what? Let's just go take a scan. Let's just see what we see. Took the scan, and she had a quarter size hole in the jawbone that had been eaten away, full of bacteria oozing into her sinus that was there above that tooth. Couldn't see it.
Wow.
I couldn't see it.
Wow. That's
Could not see it.
wild.
So you have to have the cone beam CT scan. So that is minimum. If you're looking for a dentist, you have to have that scan, particularly if you have any of the health challenges that we often see related to this, which are going to be energy related, thyroid problems, adrenal issues,
Hmm.
brain fog, can't get well, just autoimmune disease, doing everything you've been told and just can't turn the needle, not losing weight, feeling lousy. Those all of those things we see every single day in the clinic, and they are so correlated with dentistry. And the way we marry these things is we then get your dentistry all cleaned up, we get your mouth fixed, we get the infection out, we get everything done, and then we say, okay, what cells need the help first? So then we marry it
Hmm.
with the cell wall concept, and how do we really take it from there? But you've got to get those underlying issues addressed first. And they are mercury fillings, they are infected root canals, and not being able to get enough air. So at nighttime, there's an epidemic of people who are not sleeping well, and it's often due to the fact that they simply can't get enough air. And there are things here that we as dentists can fix.
Yeah. Wow. That blows my mind. How, like a quarter size?
Yeah, it was
That's
huge,
wild.
huge. Couldn't
Wow.
see it.
Wow. Wow. So, okay. So that's great information. So I say take that to the bank, everybody, and make sure you're asking those questions. I know I will be. We'll have all of Dr. Michelle's links in the bio so that you can get that pre-order in. Remember, it helps the bookmakers to be able and promoters to know that this is the information that people are looking for. Plus, it all goes to some amazing charities. And you're going to get the free guide to know exactly what your cells need. So that's amazing too, and figure out what to do about it.
Yep.
So thank you for those of you watching on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. There's a brand new episode every 2 weeks. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast host, make sure you like this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on the Human Optimization Podcast. Episode technical production is by Grace Sylvester and guest booking by Stu Tate. Want to learn more? Visit Pitel-Killah.com for incredible free resources to supercharge your journey to becoming the best version of you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe to the Human Optimization Podcast and follow me on social media at Pitel-Killah.